Well, hey, youth ministry leader, welcome to this week's NGM Focus, as today is our fifth part of our very first series on ministry transitions. First of all, let's get this off the table. If you're wondering why is this upstate New York born and raised dude wearing a Vikings jersey? Well, that's not today's topic, but let me just say this. I have been disappointed since I was in second grade. All right, you ready? See, today we're looking at ministry as a team. Now, as we begin to see ourselves landing the plane to this first series, let's step back and review. First week, how to help the fifth graders, move them well, help them connect well with our middle school ministry. We then looked at the parents. How do we come alongside mom and dad? How do we come alongside that family unit and help them also navigate well with the transition of their child into the middle school ministry, but also helping them just feel a part of our ministry as well. We then looked at the eighth grades. How do we connect them well with our high school ministry? And then last week was our senior class. First of all, we have to keep them strong. How can we help them stay strong in their own walks with Christ, and then help them transition well into the life of the larger picture of our church or another local church as they navigate and make decisions and they move away and go to college or the military or something of that nature. So the question isn't necessarily when is the best time, pre-summer, midsummer, or post-summer, to make these transitions. The real question has to be seen as we see ourselves as a team. Understand, your team, the student ministry, is going through a significant transition. So the real question isn't when to transition or promote. The real question is seeing it as a team, and you ready? When is the best time to begin the rebuilding of the team? Well, for that, Coach Brown is taking us in the house. We got the marker board ready to go. We're gonna lay it out. I hope this week makes a lot of sense and gets you thinking of when is the best time to rebuild the team. You ready? Break! I won't do that to you. That'd be really, really mean on my part. Well, I hope you enjoyed the outdoor experience. We're inside now, so we're going to jump right in. I would encourage you to grab the notes. I got mine in front of me, and we're going to go ahead and just jump right into it. Timing. The timing of the transition. We used to call it promotion. Let me just call it transition. The timing of when we take the fifth graders into middle school, eighth graders into high school, etc., etc. When is the best time? As a wise person, her name is Janet, she's my wife. As a wise person has once said, good is bad if it keeps you from the best. And I'm not looking just for the good way, I'm looking for the best way. So I realize this is not a theological issue. I realize this is not a doctrinal issue. I realize that this is not some kind of deeply seated in the Word of God practical truth. It's just this simple man's thoughts on how to build the best way to transition the students. So I'm going to play it up front. And I put here in your notes about this, but I'll play it up front with y'all right now. I'm a big fan of moving them up at the beginning of the summer. But before we go into that, let's look at our very first, what I call the crucial components. Got three things to look at with y'all. We all have that, we all have that time of transition. We all have that time where we transition the students from grade to grade and department to department. So it's very simple. I think there's only three options on the table. One, beginning of the summer. Two, during the middle of the summer. Or three, at the end of the summer. So what seems to drive each one of those three? Well, first of all, beginning of the summer is coming right off of graduation. So beginning of the school year. Beginning of the summer, I mean. A lot of churches I know actually use summer camp / mission trips to be that catalyst or that vehicle they use to flip or transition the students. So they do it sometime during the middle of the summer. However, I think back in my day, and I've also seen it by talking to many student ministry leaders, that many do it at the end of the summer. At the end of the summer, so basically right as school is now starting up for the next school year. Next question I have in your notes is what drives the direction? And I have a few thoughts, and I think I may be on the same page with you all. Curriculum. Yeah, the biggest reason I would always hear we wait till the end of the summer is because that's when the curriculum kind of kicks in for promotion's sake, and this is going back, way back in my day, traditional Baptist church, Promotion Sunday was always the first Sunday after school started. Why? Because that's when the curriculum dictated it. Also tradition. Churches have, don't you love the phrase, y'all? Come on. Always done it. Finish it that way. Or maybe a hybrid of both. Are also convenience. And here's what I mean by convenience. Let's be very candid about this. Children's ministry, for at least the most part, shuts down during the summer. Okay? They got VBS, rocking and rolling. The house is going crazy. The rafters are shaking. It's vacation Bible school, y'all. We may also see our children go to some form of kids camp or summer camp. But for the most part, the school ministry, say it again, Rich, the school year ministry shuts down for children's ministry. If it's like an Awanas or some other kind of kids program, that's only designed for the school year. It's the same thing true with adult ministries. Think about it. Whether you call life groups or home groups or cell groups or whatever your adult small group structure is, for the most part, they pretty much shut down in the summer. I know. Been in a small group for many years. Shut down in the summer. Also, men's ministry, men's Bible studies. Women's ministry, women's Bible studies, seems to shut down in the summer. So every ministry in the church shuts down in the summer except for one ministry. Us, right? We just go harder. It's the summer. So because of the convenience factor that all the other church ministries seem to shut it down, at least somewhat shut it down or slow it down in the summer, when they kind of like resurrect again, kind of like a bear out of hibernation when it comes fall, defined as school year starting August, September, that's when they think we should all jump in, we as youth ministry leaders, and kind of jump in and also do our time of recalibration. Well, is that the best reason? And in your notes, I put this. Instead of just those above reasons or rationale, what if we considered what is the most beneficial and what is the most effective, first of all, for each student, but also for the big picture of our student ministry? And that's the direction we're taking. Again, this is not a doctrinal issue. It's just something of a structural format that I've seen work very effective. And I just thought, I want to share it with y'all in one of our NGM focuses. So here it is. I have five practical suggestions. Before I share those, I have a quote. I'm quoting myself. Is that weird? I'm quoting myself here. Early in ministry, I promoted the students at the end of the summer, or let's say in keeping with the beginning of the school year, and then in keeping with the church's educational promotion. Yet it did not take me long to realize that a student who just finished the 8th grade, she didn't see herself still in middle school. She said, I'm in high school, which I think is kind of funny. It's the only one time a high school freshman is proud to be a high school freshman. It's during the summer before their freshman year. We don't want to tell them, but freshman year is crazy. Just kind of keep it on the down low, okay? But that girl that just came out of 8th grade and she's looking right at high school. She's not saying, hey, I'm in 8th grade. She's like, no, I'm in high school. Got another one for you. A junior. That guy, that gal that just finished their junior year, in the middle of July, seeing Aunt Martha during the July 4th gathering at the family, picnic, a family, let's say a boathouse or whatever, you're not looking at Aunt Martha and saying, hey, Aunt Martha, what grade are you in? Oh, I'm still a junior. No, I'm a senior. You got the idea? See, they've already moved themselves up. In the church, we're the ones that hold them back. So back to my kind of quoting myself, right? So I say here that she sees herself in high school. And I put, over the years, I used the end of the school year / the beginning of the summer as our promotion time. And I believe it was very, very successful. So toward the beginning, during my 20s, I just went along with the ride like everyone else does. End of the summer, beginning of the school year, we bump them up. And then I thought, wait a minute. They don't see themselves still on that grade. They've already promoted themselves. What if we promoted them at the beginning of the summer? That's where we're going to go with this. Now, I'll be honest. I have taught this for years in the classroom. And it made sense to our seniors in the university level. And the more I've shared it with ministry leaders, this makes sense to them. The only pushback I seem to get, well, we've already covered it. I like it. My church doesn't sign off on it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm telling you this ahead of time, not to put ammunition to some kind of a ministry rifle for you to kind of go ballistic on people. We're not talking about making this a big battle cry, but I do want to give you some thoughts laid out. So when you do get the chance to talk to senior leadership, you actually have some rationale as to why you'd like to try it. So here's the first thing. It provided ministry connection. First advantage, it provides ministry connection. Because summer, and you know this, you live it, summer is so huge in student ministry that it gives us the opportunity to help the new middle school student and the new high school student get connected to our ministry. So as opposed to, let's say, and there's Stephen, he's just entering 9th grade, and we don't put him into high school until, let's say, September. Stephen's already trying to figure out high school as it is when he walks into that campus. Then he also comes into our Sunday morning or Wednesday night, and Stephen may not even know that many people. And he's already feeling kind of weirded out in school, and then he comes to his church ministry and he doesn't feel connected as well. Well, think about that. If we moved him up at the beginning of the summer, it gives him, with us, the entire summer to get to know people his age and to get to know people in his ministry, where he now feels, you ready, safe, secure, and he belongs before he gets into high school itself. So I put in your notes, it benefits the student socially, spiritually, and emotionally. Second of all, it prepares them for school. I've already alluded to that. I believe it better prepares them for that big jump into their new age group as they enter the new school. And very simple. Let's go back to Stephen. All right. Stephen walks in as a freshman at, let's say, North High School. Stephen doesn't know that many students. He's got 1,000 students in his grade, which is very typical for a lot of larger public schools, or even more than that. But if we can help Stephen prepare him for school, so he already knows students from his own student ministry, and then when he gets to school, he's already feeling like, I belong. And how sweet would this be if there's high school sophomores, juniors, or seniors that he already knows from his church ministry, and when he bumps into them at the hall, or he's welcomed by them at the lunch table, his mind is like, yes, I feel secure. I feel like I belong. You're preparing them for school. I also talk again about the idea of socially and emotionally they're being connected. Third, it postures yourself for the summer. And I put here in your notes, let's face it, summer in student ministry is significant. It's highly relational, and it's a time of highly relaxing. So since the summer is more relational based, right? I mean, it is. Everything we do, the volleyball, the trips, everything, it's designed around like relationships. So what if we use that time to have our new students come into the ministry at the beginning of the summer? It gives us about 10 weeks, maybe 12 weeks to actually have that student connecting. So now we're using the summer to posture well our student ministry. I also put in your notes, and I'm a big fan of this because we did it all these years, using summer camp as opposed to the back end of the year, see as the beginning of the year. So go back to our man, Stephen. He doesn't really exist, but he does in my mind right now, okay? So here's Stephen, this new freshman. And this is where I'm a big fan of like a church doing its own summer camp, because our staff, we're the counselors. So that 9th grade guy's leader now has an entire week with his new small group at camp. And we all know the power of camp. We all know that. So you take Stephen, you put him in his small group, and he's getting to know not just the other new 9th graders, he's also becoming to learn to trust and lean into his new small group leader. So seeing even like summer camp or a mission trip as the beginning, the launching point of that new school year, as opposed to what's traditionally seen as the back end or kind of the closure time. Very, very powerful. You're posturing your summer very well. Number 4, protects them from the typical, what I call fall in the fall. And I used to share this a lot in the class. It really hit me a lot over the years, thinking back into my full-time years in student ministry. And no matter how much we would do to prepare students to get ready for that, what I called spiritual tsunami, when they go back to school and all of a sudden the bombs are getting dropped, F-bombs, and everything's getting dropped all around them all the time. And the pressure of sin is all around them, creeping at the doors, Genesis says, all the time. And they go from having this like lull, kind of like chilling summer, to all of a sudden they get back into school, homework hits them right away. Our students were telling me this back in the day. Literally from the first day or the first week of classes, they're already hearing about who you take into homecoming, and they got that pressure going on. And then all this sin hits them as well. And a lot of times I see students fall in the fall. Now we can't guarantee that they're going to have some kind of sinful immunity. But what we could do by helping them at the beginning of the summer and during the summer, prepare them for that time of challenge, I think by moving them up 10 weeks earlier sure helps them. Again, it goes back to that social connection. It helps them also to protect them from the typical falling in the fall. Again, it's not immunity. They're going to struggle, but it gives them a better chance to succeed, because now they already have a network of godly people around them that they already have felt valued by and protected with, and they are connected with. The last one, parents. I never had one parent say, I don't like that idea. Of all the different things in ministry, this was one area of a few, but this is one area where I sensed absolute consensus from parents. Parents loved it because they saw the benefit to their own child. Their son, their daughter was already connecting with the student ministry. Their student was already connecting with new friends. And parents, as a parent myself, I totally get that. It's Wednesday night. We just had about 20-some students in my house outside there where I kind of shot earlier today around a campfire. And we had a number of new students, and parents were sticking around. A couple reasons. One, they wanted to see how their kid was doing, but also they wanted to, this is cool, I think they're kicking the tires of me getting involved in ministry. I say that because I just saw it tonight. It's in the summer, and I saw parents already seeing their students connecting with that group. Now, I got on your notes something I also have behind me, okay? But before I go there, I have in your notes 3 words. Remember the Titans. Classic movie. Come on. Remember the Titans. Denzel. You got a whole cast of people that now have become very famous since then. There was a scene in Remember the Titans that's very powerful. If you've seen the movie, you know which scene I'm talking about. Gettysburg. You see, it had 2 schools, and you know the storyline if you've watched the movie. Not just 2 schools that had emerged. True story. Absolute true story. But also 2, let's say, races, black and white, during an extremely high tense time in our nation, early 70s, of integration. Not only were 2 teams having to become one, but 2 races were going to have to become one. And Coach took them up to Gettysburg, and they had to do some running. And then he stopped them, and he talked about a nation having to become one again. Powerful scene in the movie. Here's my point. Remember the Titans. Football doesn't start on that first Friday night of opening night of the first game. Now, that football team realizes that they have a lot of work to do before the first Friday Night Lights. They have to become a team. Here's what I want you to think. Your student ministry has gone through a significant transition since high school graduation. You may not even realize this, but when we look at it on the pad here, not your pad, but I mean your notes, and also behind me as I play this out, I want you to watch this. Okay, here we are. Hope you can still hear me okay. This was basically my student ministry out in Seattle many, many years ago. We had about 50 high school students. 10 freshmen, 15 sophomore, let's say 15 junior, and 10 seniors. Watch this play out. And before I give you my well, I just gave you my numbers, but as you look at my numbers, I want you to write down on your own ministry. Don't look at 8th right now. Look at 9, 10, 11, 12. What is your current high school broke down by grade? Then you can also go ahead and think about the 8th grade, how many, and then how many just graduated. So I want you to watch this play out. When I used to do this with my seniors years ago in the classroom, this is when the lights would come on. You got 10 freshmen. They just moved to become sophomore. 15 have now become juniors. These are now your rising seniors, the new seniors. These 10, they bounced. They're out. Now, let's say you have 15 more 8th graders coming in. Watch this. These especially these two grades, your sophomores and juniors, as they've now become juniors and seniors, that first week, that first couple of weeks after your transition, whether it's June or whether it's September, it's going to happen. These cats are going to look around and go, where the heck is everybody? I don't know anybody. Or they'll say this phrase, nobody's here. And in reality, check this out. You can have the same amount of students, but to them, it doesn't feel the same because their senior friends to go 90s boy band are bye, okay? So they're gone. So you go, where did they go? And who are these new little kids? So to them, the dynamic has totally changed. So track with me now. Because they look at their senior friends who are gone, and then they look back behind them and go, who in the world are these newbies? They think the number's lower. The number is probably still very similar, if not identical, to what they already had. We had 50. Okay? So watch this play out. What we want to do is rebuild the team chemistry. The team has to be rebuilt. They have to believe in the team again. And the biggest reason that I'm a fan of moving them up at the beginning of the summer is it gives us the summer, like a football team, to rebuild the team chemistry. So as they now become the senior class, the junior class, the sophomore class, the freshman class, it gives you 10 to 12 weeks to rebuild a sense of team, a sense of unity, a sense of purpose. So when the school year starts, you're not scrambling to rebuild a team. You've already rebuilt the team. How do you go about this? I have a few blanks. I'm just going to give you the answers. Like all godly negotiations should be done, show respect, use tact, do your homework like this, and speak humbly. I'll say it again. Show respect, use tact, do your homework, and speak humbly. I am thinking of Daniel 1 when he had arbitration with his Chaldean supervisors. He didn't walk in with picket signs or burn things down. He said, let's talk, and he provided an alternative, and he did it respectfully. So as you look over your action steps and your let's engage, I really hope this makes sense. You're going to rebuild a team at some point. It's going to be during the school year when they're already feeling that sinful tsunami coming at them. Or can you rebuild a team during the summer when you have a lot of time with them, where it's safe and where you can build team chemistry?